All right, welcome today. Today we're going to be doing a webinar on email marketing and using email marketing in your business and in your company. My name is Orhan McMillan. I am founder and managing partner at Designs Interactive. We are a small business based out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a native Baton Rouge. I started the company 19 years ago, and over the years have played a heavy part in digital marketing and digital technology. I really enjoy working with small businesses, medium-sized businesses, associations, and nonprofits. And one of the things we like to do just to help out is to produce these small, webinars and educational series, because it's very important that people understand how to use some of the technology that's out there to promote your business or yourself or your association. And so that's what we do. So we do these, once a month or so, and always looking for feedback, always looking for ways that we can improve or topics that you may be interested in. You'll be added to our mailing list where you'll be notified of upcoming seminars and workshops. And if there's anything you would be interested in, please definitely reach out and let me know. Designs Interactive is a branding, web, and marketing company based out of Baton Rouge. One of the reasons that I start with the mission and vision statement and most all of my seminars and workshops and webinars is it's through the mission statement that every company should have that helps them voice what their purpose is. What is their purpose in their business? What is their vision for their business? And so, ours is, our mission is to discover and reveal the unique characteristics of every business we work with, every business owner, and then use that at the center of their, marketing, at the center of their web, any of their communications. And through that, it's our vision that we create these successful businesses that help, create a better community, a more successful community, increase job capacity, throughout, the city, state, country, and planet, actually. So we've got a pretty good vision statement there. The services we offer, and this is as much as I will plug this business, is we offer branding, logo, slogan, language, marketing collateral. Obviously, we do a lot of custom website design, search engine optimization, internet marketing and hosting. And then through the marketing area, we do a lot of social media strategies and strategic advertising, targeted campaigns. So that's kind of what we do as a business for our clients. So the agenda today is, this is some of the areas we're going to look at. So we're going to start, first of all, getting started with email marketing, and then we're going to look at some best practices, look at some tips and regulations to follow when using email as part of your marketing strategy, analyzing your marketing results, small business email marketing, and then best email marketing services. Because there's softwares that you can use that are available to help you in doing this successfully. So getting started with email marketing, we have a couple little terms that I like to go through here is your open rate. Like after someone opens your email, you have the open rate, means how many people actually opened it. As you can see across the board, and this will get a little more into when I get into the analytics, is you looking at if you can get between a 14 and a 20 open rate on your email when you send them, you're doing a really good job. And then click-through rate, this is actually when they click on links, because we're going to show you how when you build your emails that you have the click-throughs. And so if you see how much lower the percentages is, but still, if you can get a 2, 3, 4, 5% open click-through rate, then you're doing pretty good with that. There's different types of newsletters. So there's different type of email newsletters that you can create. They all have different purposes. We have the welcome campaign. If you add someone, you will be getting one of those actually. Now that you're going to be in our email database, you're going to get a welcome email that's going to talk about, thank you for joining this webinar. It's going to have a link to the slides. I'm recording the webinar, and so there'll be a video recording available. It'll have a link to our upcoming webinars. And so that's what I use as a welcome. Another type of welcome email that I do is as I collect business cards from various networking events, etc. I come in and I have a predefined template that I use in Constant Contact that I go in and I basically just change the first line of that. So for example, I was at a Small Business Development Center group meeting last week in Southern University, and I got about 10 business cards. So I took those business cards, came back and went into my Constant Contact template. And then I changed the first line. It was, "Dear so-and-so, it was very good to meet you at the Southern Small Business Development Center Conference at Southern University. I look forward to staying in touch. Below are some of our social media links. We encourage you to please follow them and please share yours with us." So those got really good welcome, get a great reception, is using your emails in a welcome format, and then maybe a what's next. The next type is your education campaign email. So this is educating your subscribers about things that they may experience. This is what we do. You'll start getting this once a month. This is where we actually produce blog content and articles that we write that are focused on helping you be a more successful business owner or engaged in more business. We have targeted content. The one that we're producing right now, that I'm writing right now, is looking at best practice marketing strategies for 2020 for us to begin looking at that. So that'll probably be the first one that you receive. Other ways of doing that is using your email newsletter to offer free tools and resources that they can find, showing how your product or service can resolve buyer challenges. There's a lot of different ways that you can utilize the educational campaign. And then the last one is a closing campaign. So someone has signed up for your email list, etc. You can address common objections that those leads may have to buying your product or being a part of your service. You can do a closing campaign where you offer free consultation and you seek feedback from the individual. So those are three big areas. You can also do kind of a card, just a welcome card email. You can use your email list for press releases. Press releases are very important, a very great part of a marketing strategy. You can do a typical business letter. We have another template that we use that in our mail list that just goes exclusively to our clients, our web clients. If there's something they need to know about a server update, or if we're going to need to reboot a server or something like that, I can go in quickly, type in the information. It's less of a visual format and more of just a straight text format. So again, very flexible in the ways that these different type of e-newsletters can be used. So again, one of the big things we want to look at is how are we attracting customers through this? And the way you do that, I mean, honestly, the biggest way you do that, how do we get people on our email list, is a few different ways. One of the big ways is to create valuable content that people are using, that people will read, that they will be interested. All of your industries that you're in, no matter the industry, there's content that you can create, whether that's written, video content, etc., that you can write, and then from there be able to attract more customers. And another thing, one of the things I get asked quite a bit is, how do I get more people to my newsletter? You know, how do I get people to sign up? Well, there's a couple different ways of doing that. One is, like I spoke to you about, physically collecting business cards at a networking event, and then at networking events or wherever you're out and about, and then once a week or once every other week, entering them into the database, sending the welcome email. Another way is to make sure and have join our newsletter, join our mailing list on your website. On your social media on Facebook, you can also have a tab for that as well, how to join your mailing list. In those ways, if you have a retail business, you can encourage people to sign up or join your mailing list through there. So there's a lot of flexibility in how you do that. But again, you just want to keep it consistent and keep it part of your process. You can offer incentives. That's another great way of doing this, is to offer incentives on if you get $10 off if you enter your email address. We love incentives. People respond to those wonderfully. So best practices, email marketing best practices. So there's a couple different ways of when you're creating your template, when you're creating your actual design. Obviously, you want your design to match the brand of your company colors, your logo, your color palette, your font styles. So that's the first thing you do. So you look at however your business is currently branded, and then you go in and you can start working on a template. These softwares, the MailChimps and Constant Contacts, they make it so easy. They're just so very easy to build these. A couple different formats that are common is one is your logos at the top, headline, main call to action there, and then let's see, the smaller text, a graphic goes here. You can have some smaller pictures embedded here, a button, and a little bit of a description. A different one is you just incorporate the headline without the logo. But there's a lot of templates in there. You just want to make something that's visually pleasing, easy to follow, easy to scan through. Luckily, when you're doing a Constant Contact or a MailChimp, you are going to be mobile friendly, so people will be able to see these very well, very easily on phones. Okay, so here's an example. Let me see what this one is. Let's go to this one here real quick. The email marketing. So there's things that we want to do to make sure that we are in compliance. Number one, first and foremost, is that the email addresses that you gather are that you have their permission to use those. You have their permission to enter them into your email database. When I mentioned the business card thing, that's one of the reasons that I send them the welcome email is after the greeting, I say, wanted to let you know that we've entered you into our email database. At any time you can unsubscribe from there. We hope that you will stay subscribed. That's number one. The other thing is when you're thinking of the wording of your email or when you're building out the text in your email, not to use a lot of caps. Don't use all caps. Don't use that because our spam filters, we get a lot of spam anyway. I know I do. What we're looking for is to make sure that the spam filters don't tag our email as spam, and therefore the user never sees it. But those are a lot of the things just to make sure. Luckily, if you're using one of the softwares, like I keep referencing Constant Contact and MailChimp, you're going to be okay as long as you follow some basic compliance rules. Let's see, here we go. So here's a couple of the other ways of joining in. And so after you set up your account, you can have it, you can have a custom welcome message. So this would be two examples of customized welcome messages that talk about after I've signed up or if I entered you, if they entered their email address through your website, they will get an automatic thing that says, hey, you recently decided to get in the best shape of your life, become stronger, more fitter than you ever were before. It's a great decision. So what they basically did, this is for a instructor, free athletic instructor company. So they customized their message to have a little bit of their branding language, which is really great. That's a great thing to have. Another one, Coinbase, another verify your email address here. So that's why it's a double opt-in is what it is. So when they sign up, they get to verify it. We're all good on that. One of the big ways of, one of the most important things, and I'm going to log into a few of these in a moment, is to analyze the email results. So MailChimp and Constant Contact and all of those, they have great analytics that allow us to see who opens it, the open rate, click-through rate, click-throughs, bounces, everything else. So there's a small business I have outside of this. I'm going to log into theirs and kind of go around that and kind of show you a few of those. And another thing that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to structure our emails so that they click through or they open, and the open rate, I referenced that earlier. And so one of the big things, one of the data points that we're going to look at is open rate versus click-through rates. And we'll come to that in a little bit. So open rate, click rate, click to open rate, conversion rate, return on investment. So a delivery rate of a 96% should be standard. And what that means is that your email database should be, have enough correct emails, not incorrectly entered email addresses or email addresses that don't exist, or they don't exist at that company anymore. So when you send an average email, you're looking for about a 96% delivery, that successful deliveries. Then open rate. Open rate means that they actually open your email, and if they clicked on it, open it up into a new window. If that's mainly on a desktop or a computer, laptop, that's how those work. About a 31%. I find with us, it's 20 to 21%, but at least this shows that there's interest in the brand. And then on the inside of the email, the structure itself, you would want to have links back to your website, your products, your photo galleries, your incentive, customized landing pages on your website. So anytime they click on that actual physical link, that will then take them there, and then that kicks into a click rate. So these two numbers are really the two numbers I look at the most, the open rate and the click rate. If I know I can get about a 20-something% on those, 2 to 3% on the click rate, then I've done well with that newsletter. And then your conversion rate is the action being taken on your messaging, et cetera. So a conversion rate would be if I had a downloadable PDF that I wanted them to download to open up a video tutorial or something like that. I can set conversions inside of the software that can help me track that as well. But really the three big ones you want to look at here: delivery, open, and click rate. So the best email marketing services that we have, there's a lot of them, as you can see. MailChimp is a hugely popular one. We use that for a lot of our businesses because it's just easy, it's affordable. Constant Contact also as well. But there's quite a few of them out there. The best ones, depending on the size of your business and the complexity, if you're a smaller business, if you're just getting started, I would definitely start with one of the smaller ones, get familiar with that, and then you'll decide if you need to expand into something bigger or something more. The larger email marketing softwares, a lot of them will allow for email automation. They'll allow for flows and processes, so that if I send this email, if I click this button, it then puts me in a category to send this email a day or two later, then with this response 3 or 4 days later. It's much more complex, but it is that marketing automation that really does help drive sales and drives leads and drives success. But if you're kind of new getting started with it, I wouldn't stress on those. I'd get started with a MailChimp or a Constant Contact account. So yes. All right. So email marketing is part of a larger digital concept that over the years that we've kind of coined as inbound marketing. So what is inbound marketing? Inbound marketing is a way to attract customers via multi-channel marketing, but then it converts them into lasting customers. A couple of the words here that I like to point out is holistic and it attracts. And so what that means in our terms is that we're creating valuable content that is useful, that is informative, that is educational, that informs the visitor, that is useful to them. The one thing that content is doing, and when I reference the word content, that is whether it is a blog article, a newsletter article, a video recording, anything, you're not selling to them. In inbound marketing, you're not doing any direct sales. What you're doing is you're creating a relationship, because they will find the information you're putting out there so valuable that when it comes time for them to do business with you or to refer you, that you will be at the top of their mindset. Typical traditional outbound marketing examples is cold calling, cold emails, very interruptive ads that kind of just interrupt. And it's very focused on the marketer itself, not necessarily the customer. Inbound is search engine optimization. on your website where you write articles focused on keywords, where you write blog articles that are value and of interest and useful, white papers, downloadable, how-to guides, etc. It's very attraction-based, and it's very focused on the needs of your customer. In addition, the average cost is much less than it costs for outbound. Outbound, because of the mass number of quantities, is much more expensive to do. The inbound methodology is a 4-part process, and the email plays a part in this. So you attract people through blogs, through keyword refinement on your website, through social media postings. Then you get them to join the email list, right? This would be through a form or a call to action. Join our emailing list, receive this $10 coupon or 10% off your order by entering your email address. That's the conversion. And then from there, you move them into the closing phase. And then that's where you enter them into your email pipeline. So you begin to send out the weekly newsletters. You send them the welcome email. You send them the thank you email. All of this, you put them into your workflow process. And then what that does is you retain them through ongoing social events, good content, smart content, but you're simply emailing them in this process to get them to become part of that database and that list of contacts, et cetera, that work out so well. The funnel, the way this works is you get traffic by, again, creating the blog content, search and optimization, promoting on your social media sites. And then you have call to action through the website, join our emailing list, click here, etc. And then that's where the emailing comes in, automated emails to drive them through the buying cycle, sending out great information. And then you're able to analyze the data, and we're going to look at some of that in a moment. Let me go back here and let me pull up a window for you. Is there any questions while I'm navigating my deal here? If anybody has any questions, that would be great. Let's try this real quick. Bear with me one moment. There we go. All right. Okay. Okay, it's asking for a verification code. It's security things, and these are all pretty good. Okay, show this thing. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to look at, let's see here. Okay, we're going to look at now. This is a MailChimp account. This is for a small kind of a nonprofit group that I have. I don't want to do this. It's always trying to incentivize me. Okay, so we're going to kind of go through this, just kind of walk through this. This will give you a little bit more hands-on visual data as opposed to what I was talking about. So this is your dashboard. And so one of the first, it kind of gives an overall number of subscribers that I have, the campaign engagement, the opened of them, delivered, etc. So one of the first thing that you're going to do is you're actually going to go in and you're going to look at your profile. And so in here is where you can upload your photo. You can talk about your username, who you are. You link to your website. So if you have a website that then connects through your MailChimp account, this is how I choose to do them. I get my password set up, etc. Here We've got details. So you can do all kind of things with it. You can set up different users with different permissions. So if you have a staff member that is going to be doing this, you can add your phone number, et cetera, to protect your security. Obviously, you're going to have to put in the credit card information for them to bill you. Usually the way it works is between 0 and 1,000 contacts is one price, and then 1,001 it goes up a little bit more, etc. So you build your profile and get all that set up. And then one of the main things, there's a couple different areas. So let's start with audience. So audience, so there's 60 subscribers in this group. I'm not going to say who they are. And these are the ways, so with these, so this is the website that supports the Manfulness Living group here. And so if you notice towards the bottom of this page, here's where, on that page I mentioned about adding your email address. So join our mailing list. I'm already joined. They would fill this out. They hit subscribe. They get a notification to approve it. Then they're in the mailing list and they get put into this list here. You can have multiple lists. You can create different segmented lists. So for example, for this, I have my press media list. So my monthly press releases that talks about the next event that's coming up only goes to the media list. And then these are my main subscribers for this. It's a very small group that I have. So we work with that way. So that's the list. You can create new lists. You can manage audiences. Let me see. So import. So if you had someone, like I talked about, if you had a subscriber, this is where you enter their information. And then you can click which list to add them to, and it goes inside of that list. And again, as you can see, it's very user-friendly, kind of a user-friendly format. It's simple. And then from there, manage contacts. So you can view all the contacts just for privacy purposes. I'm not going to really go into that. But let's look at some of the campaigns. So once you get your audience built, once you have your email list started, then the next thing you need to do is we need to create a campaign. So we need to create an email here. So I'll pull up some of the more recent campaigns that we've done for this one. And we can kind of look at those. And so here's one, for example, that is our November newsletter. So we did a November newsletter. It was talking about the upcoming topic for this group. For this one, it was called The Story We Tell. We created a graphic. We did a little bit of content development, talked about what we're going to do at the event. We register here. I have all the social media in case they've been recently added and they're not already on our social media. And then let's look at a report of this. Okay, so this went out to 57 recipients. See where I can click through. So the open rate, so 26% of my mail list actually opened up. So that's about half. And then out of that, 33% of them actually clicked on the links that I had. And then, so this is the open rate, my bad. I'm getting this wrong. It was a 26% here overall performance. The click rate is here. So I had a 3.5%, which is totally in line with what I was showing you in that earlier data. So I'm a little bit higher on the open rate, a little bit higher on the click rate, but compared to all my campaigns, ever since I started doing this a year and a half ago, I'm at 26, my average one is 33. 3.5 out of 4.7, and then any unsubscribes. So luckily, no unsubscribes. I mean, it's a very closed group that I have, so I don't get a lot of unsubscribes on there. But I had a great open rate, and I can see actually who opened them. I can actually go in and see the individuals that actually opened these here. Okay. I can also look at the click rate. I can actually see who clicked through things. No bounced, which is great. No unsubscribed. A bounce is if it was sent to an undeliverable address. If someone say like they're no longer working there, you want to look at that so you can you can remove them from your mail list, etc. You can also look at the performance from the time it was sent out and how it performed over the, the next few days. You can see which links they clicked. You can look at who opened the most out of all of them. So again, there's some really great data. Obviously, we're focused in the United States. So that's the example of like studying a campaign. And then let's look at, so that was at the beginning of November. And the second part in November, I resent an email, the second version. And in this one, I had actually created a small YouTube video talking about the event and sent that out and was just kind of talking about what we're going to talk about. This, I was able to record a little small video on my iPhone, upload it to my YouTube channel, embed it into here. Super easy. I mean, it was just so crazy how easy it was to do those things. So let's look at the results of that campaign. All right, so 25% open rate, 1.76 click rate, so they didn't, less than normal on the click through, and then no one subscribes, which is good. So this tells me that the click rate was different. And another thing that is really great that you can do on an email campaign is that you can set it up to resend to those that have not opened it before. And so it'll automatically resend that. You can do that through the automation button. And a lot of this is just going to take a little practice and stuff. So let's look at creating an email. Let's just say we're going to create one from scratch. Show you how easy it is. Our example, okay. And because of when I set up my original template, it has the information needed. So who am I sending this to? I'm going to send this to my subscribers. Okay. Obviously it's from me. They know who I am. Subject. So the subject line. So let's talk about the subject line. Subject lines are about 8 words or somewhere in that area. They are actually the most important words you can possibly use. You want something that immediately grabs attention because sometimes that's all they'll see as they're going through their inboxes. Think about yourself for a moment. How many emails do you get in an hour? It's the subject line that's very valuable. So the subject line is usually the last thing I write. After I've gotten everything together, I think about what the strongest call to action is or what the strongest 8 words are. And that's what I type in there. And then below that, I can do a little preview text, which shows right underneath in the inbox a couple more sentences. So the most powerful words and then a couple more supporting words there. But again, I usually do this at the end of a campaign after I built it. And then you can design your email. So you can pick out the different, as I was showing you earlier, the different themes, etc. here. Now, I'll tell you this, I always make a master template that I do that I go back to every time. So let me give you an example of that. So let me go back to dashboard. And so because once I get my format down for whoever it is I'm using, I don't want to have to rebuild this thing over and over every single time. So what I'll do is I will actually go into, say, my last newsletter because it has the basic format that I want. It has my logo, it has the main graphic, content, registered, links back, footer. I keep this newsletter is a very simple, basic one I do. So instead of recreating that every single time, I actually go and do a replication. So I replicate it. So it's going to take everything it had before and I'm going to copy it. And then I go in and name it here. I change the name. My subscribers stay the same, that goes out to the same people, same from. This is where I do my subject line, I come back to, but this is where I just go in. So when I do this, I obviously already have the layout done. And so I simply go in and I can change the picture out, change the article out, etc. It's very simple. This is how you can add various sections using this. So let's say I wanted to add a text section in here. It's pretty simple. Simply grab it, drop it in there, and then go over here. I edit my text, fills in here. I can bullet, center, all of that stuff, underline, color, font change, etc. Save and close. If I go back later and decide that's not what I want, I can simply delete it. A bunch of different, I can add a divider, I can add just a box for a picture, I can add an image card, a bunch of different things you can do. A button, I can do custom code. This is where I added that video earlier there inside of that. And so again, pretty simple stuff. It takes a little time to get started. And once you kind of do your initial draft, then you're okay, because you can kind of replicate that over and over. So one of the things here is that then when you're ready, you said do it, yes. You can do a schedule here. Then, all right, so let's do edit design. So over here, I can do a preview. You definitely want to do this. You definitely need to preview your things. So you can do here. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is what it would look like in your inbox. This is what it would look like on your mobile device. This one, I need to refresh this here, because it actually resizes this because I'm flipping through them. Preview and test, push to mobile. You can also do, here's what it looks like with your inbox here. Let's see how this does. Okay, I need to set this up. This is a new feature I haven't even set up inside of here, but I imagine this is how it would lay out on your inbox. So those are the areas you want to be able to preview and test your emails. And then another really great thing is you can schedule. So what you want to be able to do is here, let's go back to campaigns. And so once everything's tested, once you're good with everything, then you want to be able to schedule here. All right. And so you can either set up a date and time to schedule, you know, if it's a future date. This is another interesting feature. Let's say, I think you can do this. Let me try this. Let's say I wanted to send this Thursday, but I want to see if MailChimp can help me calculate the time. Sometimes this is a really great tool. So what they're saying is, based on my users' data and based on the activity that I've done over a year, if I'm going to send it this Thursday, the best time for that to be received is at 12 p.m. So let's look and see if we change that to Friday. Okay. So let's say if we change that to Friday, and then let MailChimp. Now you do need, so it is still 12 p.m. I imagine it's pretty consistent across my users, but you do have to have at least 8 hours in advance. In other words, I can't say send it optimum time in the next 8 hours. I have to be able to let it calculate that at least, I think, 10 hours after or something of that nature. Okay, so now we're back to the dashboard, etc. So that kind of is a majority of the stuff that I wanted to kind of look at, you know, looking at how people interface with it, the different uses of email and email newsletters. Like I said, it's just valuable information. It's a useful tool. Email is one of the strongest ways to retain customer loyalty and customer value. The big thing you have to remember is you don't want to send too many emails out. What is the proper number? There is no hard answer on that. It depends on the line of business you're in. But the rule of thumb is a nice newsletter at least once a month, maybe with some supporting promotion or campaign that goes along with that, the second part of the month, so an average of 2. But even if it's once a quarter, as long as it's of good value, there's good content, well thought out content, well designed content, it's going to be successful. And the thing is to keep growing the email list, grow it organically, grow it holistically, and just, again, keep putting out the valuable content, study your analytics, see who's opening, see what times of day they're opening, etc. So I will now see if there's any questions. Does anybody have any questions for me or any examples of things that they would like to look at? PowerPoints. Okay, well, thank you all for joining today. I appreciate your time, and I hope there was some valuable information. I'll be sending out an email with the PDFs and the video recording links, etc. And I hope to have you join in future webinars, and have a great day.